In a previous video, we gave the definition of a worldview. It is the assumptions people make about the nature of reality. The definition itself is not that difficult to understand, but the depth of meaning contained within it can make it difficult to grasp some of the deeper implications of the concept. Worldview is an abstract idea that deals with the topic of reality. The reason it is so difficult for some people to grasp is that once we conceive of reality in a particular way, it seems crazy that anyone could think of it differently. After all, if it's not real, it's a fantasy, right? How could anyone not see that? But the fact is, people do have different ways they conceive of what is real. Thus, it is helpful to look at the concept using some explanatory metaphors. Here we will look at 4 metaphors which can give us a deeper understanding of the concept of worldview. The first metaphor is that of an environment. Pretend for a moment that you are one of the fish swimming around the coral reef in this picture. What is possible for you to know as you live in this environment? You can perhaps know something about the water you swim in. You can know about the other fish. You can know about the other creatures which live in and around the coral. You can know about the sea bottom, what it looks like and what it is made up of, and perhaps occasionally some other kind of creature might swim through your territory. But what can you not know? Well, you can't know anything about what is on land or in the sky. You can't know anything about freshwater and freshwater creatures. You can't know about other saltwater creatures which live in other parts of the earth, even though they might be in the same ocean. In fact, there are many things you can't know because they do not exist in the environment you live in. A worldview is a belief environment. Everyone grows up in a particular family, neighborhood, and cultural setting. You grow up learning the right way to act, the truth about religion, how to relate to people, and many other things. In other words, you learn from your family, teachers, preachers, friends, and others all of the things which make up reality in your environment. Most people are not exposed to seriously conflicting beliefs about reality in the early stages of life. You understand reality based on the environment you grew up in and are totally unaware of beliefs which would contradict what you were taught to believe. Another worldview metaphor is that of a belief foundation. As you look at the picture, you will see 4 shapes. It seems that these are the most common shapes that are used to construct buildings. When a contractor begins to put up a building, the first thing laid down is the foundation. That foundation then determines nearly everything else about the building as it is being built. You can't build one type of building on the foundation of another type. For example, suppose I wanted to build a rectangular-shaped building, but the foundation which was laid was L-shaped. What will happen when I build the structure? Well, we would be headed for a disaster because part of the building would not have a foundation under it. It would not be long before it would crumble and fall. There are actually 2 important things that the foundation determines about a building: its parameters and its strength. Any part of the building which is built outside of the foundation will ultimately crumble because it doesn't have the support it needs to remain standing over the long term. And you also cannot build a 12-story building on a foundation which was designed to support 4 stories. The weight of the materials in the superstructure will ultimately crush the foundation. A worldview is a belief foundation. And just like a building's foundation, it determines 2 important things about a person's beliefs: its parameters and its strength. When people try to incorporate beliefs into life which are outside of their worldview foundation, the beliefs are weak and will ultimately crumble when they are challenged. When people try to pile beliefs onto their worldview foundation which don't belong there, that will also ultimately overwhelm the foundation, which will crumble underneath it. A third metaphor is a lens. A worldview is like a pair of glasses. There's an interesting thing about glasses. When people are wearing them, they are rarely even aware of the lenses themselves. All they are concerned with is what is seen through the lenses. That is true in spite of the fact that the lenses affect, in some very dramatic ways, what is seen. As you look at the pictures here, you can see that there are 4 pair of glasses represented. One pair has a clear lens, one has a blue lens, one is red, and the 4th pair is green. Now, I have put some words on the screen in 3 different colors. It says, God loves you. The word God is in blue, loves is in red, and you is in green. Now, if I look at these words through glasses which have a clear lens, what I described is exactly what you see. However, what happens if we look at these same words through a blue lens? Well, the word God gets washed out since it is the same color as the lens. I can assure you that the word God is still there, but you simply can't see it. The same thing happens when we look at the 3 words using a red lens. Only this time, it is the word loves which gets washed out because it is the same color as the lens. And, of course, the same thing happens with the green. When we look at the words through the green lens, the green word you gets washed out, even though the word is actually still there. A worldview is like a belief lens. If you hold a particular belief at a worldview level, that is what you recognize to be real. So if you are confronted with a different belief, you perceive it to be unreal, so your belief filter washes it out. You simply will not take it seriously. There is one more metaphor we will use here to describe a worldview. A worldview is like a belief language. For demonstration purposes, I have put up a sentence in the Japanese language. Can you read that? Probably not, because there is a good chance you don't know the Japanese language. Now, if you do know Japanese, you'll just have to use your imagination a bit and pretend it's a different language that you don't know. You know, there are languages out there you don't understand. Well, to help you out, let me read it for you. It says, Nihongo o hanashimasu ka? Now you know what it says, right? Oh, still don't know? Well, let me translate it into English for you. It says, do you speak Japanese? See, you actually do know what it says. But even though you actually know what it says, you didn't understand when I spoke it because it is in a language you don't know. A worldview is like a belief language. People use language to describe reality in terms that make sense to them. So if a person talks about what is real based on his or her own worldview, but the person being spoken to has a different understanding of reality, they might understand the words, but they will not understand the concepts. It is as if the words have an entirely different meaning. A worldview is a way people understand reality. It is like an environment. It is like the foundation of a building. It is like the lens of a pair of glasses. And it is like a language. With these illustrations in mind, you should be starting to understand the meaning and implications of worldview more fully. Hopefully, with these illustrations in mind, your ability to understand the meaning and implications of worldview concepts is growing stronger.